Hey boys and girls, this is lesson 6.6, customary units of weight. Those are U.S. customary units of weight, and you will, in this lesson, explore U.S. customary units of weight. You'll convert tons to pounds and convert pounds to ounces. Once you have the title written down and any of that you'd like, as well as today's date, come on back. All right, so I'm giving you on this slide a couple different measurement tools. So you can see the one is converting from pounds to ounces and the other is converting from tons to pounds. You can tell that by looking here. That's telling you what it's about. So I want you to use these as you will. While you think about these two questions, jot the answers, what you think the answers are to these two questions in your notes. So do you think a stapler would weigh about 7 ounces or 7 pounds? And the other question is, might a car weigh about 1 ton or 2,000 pounds? So once you have that jotted down, come on back. Okay, so as far as stapler weighing, it's going to be closer to 7 ounces than 7 pounds. And the second one was kind of a trick question. 1 ton is the same as 2,000 pounds, so either of those would have been the right choice. So just to connect this to what you've learned. In Unit 4, we learned about measuring mass in grams and kilograms. That's the metric version. And then today we're going to work on the U.S. version of that, the U.S. customary system, which measures weight in tons, pounds, and ounces. So I'm curious as to what you think one slice of bread weighs and what you think that car might weigh. And then I put the graphic on the left here for you just as maybe some points of reference, and I thought it was cute. Okay, give that a guess. So you can keep in your mind, just to have for a reference, that a slice of bread is about 1 ounce, and a car is about a ton. So I again put the measurement tools at the top for you, so we could talk through a couple things. So if a small truck weighs about 2 tons, how could we use the measurement scale to determine the weight in pounds? This should seem familiar to you. We used the same concept earlier in the year. So I would find the 2 tons on this one and slide my finger down to see that it would be 4,000 pounds. Okay? You should be comfortable with this. And then if the weight of a box of sugar is 2 pounds, how could we use the scale to determine the number of ounces? So I'm going to find the pounds to ounces scale. We said 2 pounds, slide my finger down, that's the same as 32 ounces. Okay? So use the understanding of how to use the scale to do problems 1 and 2 on page 204 in your math journal. When you have those done, come back. So here are the answers to problems 1 and 2. You can see that we just used the scale to come up with the 4,000, 6,000, 10,000 for tons to pounds, and for ounces, the 48, the 64, and the 112. So here's a new question. So how could you convert from tons to pounds if you didn't have that scale? Think about that for a second. How do you think you might do that? Well, because we know there's 2,000 pounds in a ton, you could multiply the number of tons by 2,000, or you could multiply the number of tons by 1,000, because that's a pretty easy thing to do. Just add the 3 zeros, right? Append the zeros. And then you could double that, because that would make it worth the 2,000 that each one of those would be, right? So that's a possibility, either of those. And converting from pounds to ounces, if I didn't have that scale, how would I do that? Well, hopefully at this point you know that there are 16 ounces in a pound, so you could just multiply the number of pounds by 16. If you don't know those off the top of your head, those should definitely be written in your notes. So what happens when we convert a large measure of weight, such as tons, to a smaller measure of weight, such as pounds? So we're going from tons to pounds. We should figure that the numbers are going to get larger because it takes a greater number of those smaller units to represent the same weight. So 1 ton, if I convert to pounds, is 2,000, right? And then the opposite way of that. What happens when we convert a smaller measure of weight, such as ounces, to a larger measure of weight, such as pounds? Hopefully we'd figure out that the numbers would get smaller because it takes a smaller number of larger units to represent the same weight. So 16 is a pretty big number. 16 ounces, which is a small unit of measurement, when converted into pounds, which is a bigger one, the number's going down. Okay? 16 ounces, 1 pound. So use the understanding that you've just gotten from the last 2 slides to do problems 3 and 4 on page 204. And when you're done with that, come on back. And here are those answers. So hopefully you can see that I would do times 2,000 to go from 9 to 18,000 pounds, 9 tons, 18,000 pounds. And I could have said 9 times 1,000, which is 9,000, and double that to 18,000. That would definitely work. For this one, going from the 20,000 pounds, for how many tons is that? I've got to do the opposite, right? So I could take half of this, which is 10,000, and then divide that by 1,000, which means I'm going to be taking away 1, 2, 3 of the zeros. I was already at 10,000, so I took away the 3 zeros. That leaves me with 10. So that's what's going on here. Over here, we know that we're doing times 16 in order to get that. And to go the opposite way here, you are dividing by 16. And we haven't talked about ways that you can do that 100% yet, but we will more. So see what you came up with. We are definitely discussing this problem in the lesson when you come, but hopefully you had these same answers. Okay, I'm giving you, this is out of your SRB, and we've talked about it earlier in the year, but just to make sure that you remember that you have this. This is the guide to solving number stories and all the steps that you need to take in order to solve number stories. So I kept put on the slide so you could refer to it if you needed it, but we have gone through it earlier in the year. You are going to use it as we go forward. So here's the story problem. We've picked 4 bags of apples. Each bag weighed 2 pounds, and I wanted to put on here for you, this is the abbreviation for pounds. I know it's weird that it would be LBS when there's no L in this word, but this is the abbreviation, so I want you to be aware of it. So each bag of these 4 bags of apples weighed 2 pounds. So how much do the 4 bags weigh? Figure out how you can solve that. And then after you figure out that one, what would that be in ounces? How am I going to convert this answer to ounces? Try and solve this, and then come back and we'll discuss the answers. So for the beginning part there, 4 bags times 2 pounds equals 8. So how much do the 4 bags weigh? 8 pounds. And then if I want to convert that to ounces, remember I know that there are 16 ounces in each pound, so 8 times 16 would be 128 ounces. All right, that's how I solve that. Another question for you. An elephant at the Toledo Zoo weighs 7 tons. a hippo there weighs 4 tons. How much more does the elephant weigh than the hippo? How much more does the elephant weigh than the hippo? So you're solving that, and then converting. So what would that be in pounds? You're in tons, you're going to pounds. After you answer both, come back and check it on the next slide. Well, we would solve this by saying 7 tons minus 4 tons, because I'm looking for the difference between them. How much more is a difference question, so it's a subtraction. 7 minus 4 is 3, so how much more? 3 tons. I have to label that, because that's what the question's asking me. How much more do they weigh? 3 tons more. The elephant weighs than the hippo. And if I'm converting that to ounces, oh, this should say pounds for you. Sorry, guys. This should say pounds. 3 tons would be 6,000 pounds. If I really wanted to go all the way to ounces, I'd have to multiply this times 16, right? Each one of these pounds would be 16 ounces, but I really was looking for you to convert just to pounds. So sorry if if you did a little overkill there. Okay, so all that we've learned now, you're going to use to complete the 4 problems on page 205 in your math journal, and then do the try this if you'd like to. Don't spend too much time on it. We will talk about it when you come up to the lesson. When you think you have that all completed, please come back and check your answers on the next screen. All right, here's the beginning of that page, and here's the end of that page. To try this if you decided to try it. All right, we will talk about that in class. Have a great night.